Hi, my name is Samantha. This is the first time I'm ever doing this, going live, and I don't even know what I'm doing or going to do. But I'm just gonna exist on here for a little bit because why the hell not? I have so many things to do with school and so many things I do in my life, and I want to start sharing that, especially now during this pandemic and this time, and try to bring some added meaning and company and connection to what I'm doing and try to find some more motivation to do it as well, like paint and read all the books I'm supposed to be reading right now for my class and sing and just share myself generally with folks over the internet. So we'll see how it goes. But thank you to anyone who comes along and watches and goes on the ride. I think I might start off by reading some poetry because that is what I am supposed to be doing for class right now. So, one of the things I'm supposed to be doing and reading is some essays within this text called The Italian Renaissance Reader, which is a collection of essays and works by various thinkers and philosophers and poets and artists during the Renaissance era in Italy. And I'm supposed to be reading, rather than watching YouTube videos on learning languages and sleep patterns, the selected poems from the Canzoniere, which I'm probably not saying that right, but that's by, I believe, Francesco Petrarca. Francesco Petrarca, or Petrarch, as some people say. So, I already read a few of these the other day, yesterday evening. Got like 20 pages of poems to read, so why not just start here? Or should I start at the beginning? Why not? Let's just see how long I can go. Kind of like Limbo, but with reading. Okay. So this is a section of selected poems from the Canzoniere by Francesco Petrarca. O you who hear within these scattered verses the sound of sighs with which I fed my heart in my first errant youthful days, when I in part was not the man I am today. For all the ways in which I weep and speak, between vain hopes, between vain suffering, and anyone who knows love through its trials, in them may I find pity and forgiveness. For now I see, since I've become the talk so long a time of people all around, it often makes me feel so full of shame, that from my vanities comes fruit of shame and my repentance, and the clearest knowledge that worldly joy is a quick passing dream. It was the day the sun's ray had turned pale with pity for the suffering of his maker, when I was caught, and I put up no fight, my lady, for your lovely eyes had bound me. It seemed no time to be on guard against love's blows, therefore I went my way secure and fearless. So all my misfortunes began in midst of universal woe. Love found me all disarmed, and found the way was clear to reach my heart down through the eyes which have become the halls and doors of tears. It seems to me it did him little honor to wound me with his arrow in my state, and to you, armed, not show his bow at all. I'm not sure how I would put what I'm... Oh, I should. Here we go. Reading selected poems from the... Let me spell that again. Canzoniere. by Francesco. Petrarca. Okay. God, I'm trying not to be bored. I'm also trying not to be nervous, which I don't know why. If there's any reason I should be, since no one's watching this. But yeah, just doing this to motivate myself, for me, for you. I don't know. I'll get better at reading this poetry once I feel so comfortable that I forget I'm even doing this. I'm gonna take these off because this, oh, it's not helping me. And I'm not listening to music right now. Though that would be a good experiment. Okay. The old man takes his leave, white-haired and pale, of the sweet place where he filled out his age, and leaves his little family bewildered, beholding its dear father disappear. And then, dragging along his ancient limbs throughout the very last days of his life, helping himself with good will all he can, broken by years and wearied by the road, he comes to Rome, pursuing his desire to look upon the likeness of the One he hopes to see again up there in heaven. So I guess they're talking about Christ, Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ. All right. Just so, alas, sometimes I go, my lady, searching as much as possible in others for your true, your desirable form. I guess he's talking about Mother Mary. When I pause, that means it's a different poem. Hearing strange sounds outside. For any animal that lives on earth, except for but those few that hate the sun. Who would hate the sun? The time to toil is while it is still day, but then when heaven lights up all its stars, some go back while some nest in the wood and find some rest at least until the dawn. And I, from the first signs of lovely dawn, shaking the shadows from around the earth, awakening the beasts in every wood, can never cease to sigh while there is sun. Then when I see the flaring of the stars, I start to weep and long for the gone day. True that. When night drives out the clarity of day and our darkness brings out another's dawn, I gaze all full of care at the cruel stars that once created me of sentient earth, and I curse the first day I saw the sun, which makes me seem a man raised in the wood. I think there never grazed in any wood so cruel a beast, whether by night or day, as she for whom I weep in shade and sun, from which I am not stopped by sleep or dawn. For though I am a body of this earth, my firm desire is born from the stars. Before returning to you, shining stars, or sinking back into the amorous wood, leaving my body turned to powdered earth, could I see pity in her, for one day can restore many years. I hope so. And before dawn, enrich me from the setting of the sun. Could I be with her at the fading sun and seen by no one, only by the stars? Could I be with her at the fading sun and seen by no one, only by the stars, for just one night to never see the dawn, and she not be transformed into green wood, escaping from my arms as on the day Apollo had pursued her here on earth? But I'll be under earth in a dry wood, and day will be full of tiny stars before so sweet a dawn will see the sun. In the introduction, I read that he has an interesting view on love, which sounds like there's an unrequited situation going on here, and it is a bit bitter. I think there never grazed in any wood so cruel a beast, whether by day or night. I thought he was going with humankind with this, but he seems to be pinning it on one human, as she for whom I weep in shade and sun, from which I am not stopped by sleep or dawn. For though I am a body of this earth, my firm desire is born from the stars. Or maybe saying like the longing for religious unification is torture. and that he can't wait to be underground, or that he will be underground when such day happens. So maybe alluding to the Judgment Day, I guess. This is all very religious times we're talking here, folks. The writing, the paintings, the Renaissance. Seems like a battle between boho pagan lifestyle and the church. Something like that. Anyways, the next poem. In the sweet springtime of my early years, which saw the birth and the still tender green of the fierce passion which grew up against me, since singing can unripen bitter pain, I'll sing of how I lived in liberty, while love had not been welcomed in my home. Then I'll go on to tell how this offended him too deeply, and what happened to me then, that I became a lesson for the many. Even though my harsh undoing has been recorded elsewhere, exhausting 1,000 pens by now, and every valley is echoing with the sound of my grave sighs, attesting to a painful way of life. If now memory is no help to me, as once it was, let pain be my excuse, and that thought which alone inflicts such anguish, it makes me turn my back on any other and forces me to lose all my sense of self. It owns my insides, I'm merely the shell. I tell you that from the day love first thrust his blow at me many a year had passed, and I was giving up my youthful looks. I feel that. Around my heart the frozen thoughts had formed a kind of adamantine toughness there, which never let my hard decision out. No tear until this time had bathed my breast, nor broke my sleep, and what was not in me appeared miraculously so in others. Oh, what am I? What was I? The end lauds life, the night what day has brought, because that savage one of whom I speak, dog, please be quiet, aware that until now his arrow's blow had not pierced me beyond the clothes I wore, oh, shallow love, took as his patroness a mighty lady, against whom wit or force or begging pardon, oh Lord, this is long, did serve me just as little then as now. Damn, he's really got it in for this lady. Like, bruh. Let it go, or don't blame her, or like, I don't know, you're just caught up in lust, because love don't make you feel like that. Anyways, so love, both of them changed me into what I am. I guess he's talking about Cupid and the object of his unrequited, torn love, longing. What's the word I'm looking for? Not torn, but forlorn. There we go. Okay, from living man they turned me to green laurel that does not lose its leaves in the cold season. That sounds like a good thing, though. The way I felt when I became aware of the transfiguration of my body. Who is this, like the beginnings of the metamorphosis or something? Kafka's, not Ovid's, because Ovid was way before this. Okay, focus. The way I felt when I became aware of the transfiguration of my body and saw my hair turning into those leaves I once had hoped to make into my crown. And both the feet I stood on moved and ran as every limb responds to the soul's power. True. Turning into two roots above the waves, not of Peneus, but a prouder river. And both my arms transformed into branches. Nor do I feel less fear, all covered in white feathers later on, when struck by lightning and by death, my hope. Oh, he's definitely tributing Ovid right now, and Dante. And what else? And I'm sure this is where Kafka got his good stuff. Yes. When struck by lightning and by death, my hope, presuming to ascend too high, had fallen. Sounds very biblical. For since I did not know just when or where I would recover it, alone in tears. Ooh, recover what? So sorry. Nor do I feel less fear, all covered in white feathers later on, when struck by lightning and by death, my hope. Presuming to ascend too high had fallen, for since I did not know just when or where I would recover it, hope, I gather, alone in tears, I would go searching night and day. Aww. That place where I had lost it. Yeah, man, soul loss, that is real. Find that soul burr. Where I had lost it, near and in the waters, and never from then on was my tongue silent while I could speak about that evil fall, and with the swan's song I took on its color. And so I went along the shores I loved, and wanting to express myself, I sang with a strange voice, constantly begging mercy, but I could never make my amorous cries resound in tones so sweet or soft enough to bring her harsh, cruel heart to condescension. Excuse me. What I felt then, if thinking back, still burns, but much more than what I have told about, that sweet yet bitter enemy of mine, I feel I must reveal. Although she is beyond what words can say. This one, who with glance can steal a heart, oh, blaming the woman as the thief, a tried and true old tactic. Lord, get control of yourself, man. Okay, this one, who with a glance can steal a heart, opened my breast and took my heart in hand, saying to me, say not a word about this. Okay. Then I saw her alone in other garb and did not know her. Oh, who understands? Not me. And full of fear, I told her what the truth was. And she, resuming her accustomed form, quite quickly turned me into, oh my grief, a hardly living, baffled piece of stone. I think I need to address the notes here. What the fuck is going on? Machiavelli. What the? Oh, I'm looking all in the wrong spot. I knew it. In Ovid's Metamorphoses. Okay, this makes much more sense that he is directly quoting myths from Ovid. Come all ye fair and tender maids, who flourish in their prime. All right. In Ovid's myth, when Battus revealed Mercury's theft of Apollo's oxen, Mercury turned him into a stone. Okay. But he's talking about a lady doing it to him. I wonder if they're reaching. Maybe I could get people in my class to do this with me. A little bit tired of learning about the Renaissance at the moment. So maybe I should just make some other things. Sing a little bit. Maybe I could sing it. That sounds so much better. Okay. Let's do this. She spoke. She spoke with so much anger on her face, it made me tremble in that stone to hear. Perhaps I am not what you think I am, I told myself. If she were to unrock me, no life could be as sad or hard as this. Come back and make me weep again, my Lord. I know not how, but I got out of there, blaming no one but my own self. That day I walked away, half living and half dead. But since my time is short, my pen cannot keep up with my goodwill. So many things recorded in my mind, I pass them by and tell only of those that stun the mind of anyone who listens. Death had now wrapped itself round my heart, and silence could not take it from her hands. To use my spoken voice had been denied me so, and so I shouted out with pen and paper, I'm not mine, no. If I die, it's your fault. That is literally what it says. That's bizarre. I thought by doing this that I, unworthy, would in her eyes be worthy of her mercy. What the fuck? Why would that? Okay. And in such hope I found boldness to try, but sometimes meekness will put out disdain, sometimes inflame it. This I found out later. Good lord, bro, this isn't really poetry. It's like... ugh. For with my prayers my light had disappeared, and I, who found nowhere the slightest trace of herself, not even of her feet, just like the tired traveler, collapsed weary upon the grass one day. And there, accusing her fugitive ray to desperate tears of mine, I gave free rein and let them fall wherever they decided. Ah, tears! Snow never disappeared beneath the snow, as I felt myself melt entirely and turn to fountain where the beech tree grows. For a long time I traveled the wet road. Who ever heard a man turned into fountain? Ovid. And yet I speak of clear and well-known things. Yes, I'm sure you do. That soul that God alone created noble, full grace like this could come from no one else, is similar to her own creator state. Therefore she never stops forgiving one who with humility in heart and face, though he offended countless times, begs mercy. And if, unlike herself, she is insistent on one's insistent prayer, she mirrors him. Is this like some Beatrice references? Beatrice? Ovid's myth of Byblis tells of how her brother rejected her love and she was changed into a fountain. Alright. But what the hell does this have to do with him and whatever the hell he's saying? The first poem in 316, the first poem, like 316, other verse compositions in the Canzoniere, is a Petrarchan sonnet. The sonnet form was developed in the 13th century by poets of the Cecilian school, writing at the court of Frederick II. Giacomo de Lentini is usually considered its inventor, although Petrarch made it popular throughout all of Western literature. The Petrarchan sonnet is a lyric poem, generally of 14 hendecasyllabic lines. Hendecasyllabic, yeah. Which is divided into an octave rhyme scheme. Abad. Wait. Ababab. Am I reading that right? Abba Bab. Oh, Jesus Christ. An acetate. The rhyme scheme is usually oh, Jesus. But it also may be. Oh, okay. I'm maybe not supposed to pronounce that. CCD. Okay. In English literature, leave it to me to try and pronounce a conglomeration of letters that aren't supposed to be pronounced. In English literature, in addition to the Petrarchan sonnet, the Shakespearean and the Spenserian sonnet variants exist. Oh, I do not care, though. I really don't. I just want to know who the fuck he's talking about. Okay. Toward the end of his life, Petrarch referred to his collection of poems as trifles. Yeah, you don't say, huh? Sounds pretty trifling to me. And he never actually assigned a specific title to them. But, rest in peace, bro. Do what you do, Do what you did. The book is often called the Rhyme Sparse, scattered verses. Oh, Canzoniere is a songbook. Hence why I was singing it. I picked up on this. Well, no, all the epics need to be sung anyways. Welcome, no one and everyone, to my show about commentary about things I'm reading. Oh, goodness. About popcorn gathering. That's what I'll call it. All right. Petrarch's apparent nonchalance about these lyrics are really only a ruse, since he spent his entire life composing and revising them carefully. Oh, okay. All right. Okay, so there is, just like Dante, this guy is marrying the whole Christ thing with love of his life thing, whom he doesn't end up with, or is ever with. Because here it says he's referencing Christ's crucifixion. According to poem 211, Petrarch first saw Laura on April 6, 1327. I don't know who that is, but apparently someone worth naming. This is a reference to the Veronica, the legendary kerchief with which Saint Veronica wiped Christ's brow on the way to Calvary. The Veronica, is believed to have retained the features of Christ's face. Oh, I see. The Veronica is the handkerchief. So bizarre. Naming an inanimate object, the name of a woman. It's bizarre. Okay. The handkerchief, Veronica, is believed to have retained the features of Christ's face, and it is preserved in St. Peter's in Rome. Poem 22 is a sestina, a six-stanza poem, each stanza of which is made up of 6 hedecasyllabic lines, okay, plus a closing 3-line tornada, okay. According to Virgil, the amorous wood is the place in the underworld assigned to those who die for love, yes. Yes, Daphne and all the like, oh God. All right, so he has an obsession with a lady named Laura. Okay. I don't know. Like, how can you be seemingly talking shit about someone and say you love them? That don't connect. That don't commiserate. Does not go together. I'm guessing that he mentioned her in his other, in the introduction about him, maybe? Okay. Petrarch claimed to prefer his Latin works to his vernacular poems, yet his Canzoniere became the model for stylish, elegant, and eloquent love poetry, not only in Italy, but also throughout all of Western Europe from his own day until the 17th century. I guess after Dante headed that waterway. It inspired a major tradition in Western lyric poetry known as Petrarchism, and it was a major and determinant influence upon Chaucer, Spenser, Shakespeare, Milton, Ronsard, Donne, and countless other late medieval and Renaissance poets and playwrights who often employed Petrarchan language or conceits in their dramatic works. Laura, the beautiful but enigmatic muse who inspired these lyrics, apparently died during the Black Plague of 1348. God rest her soul. The same pestilence eloquently described in Boccaccio's Decameron. I'm butchering these words, and I'm sorry to no one, since no one's watching this. And Petrarch's Canzoniere songbook recorded the various changes in his thoughts and emotions between his first vision of Laura until and after her death. Like all of the truly great love poetry of the Western lyric tradition, a woman has to die. No, I'm just kidding. A major portion of which Petrarch did so much to establish, the Canzoniere actually concentrated more upon the psychology of the poet in love than upon the beloved. Yep, I can feel that. I can sense that. I can feel it. Definitely. Petrarch's humanism, incorporating the ideas of newly rediscovered classical texts, might be said to have given the European Renaissance its direction. Petrarch's humanism, incorporating the ideas of newly discovered classical texts, might be said to have given the European Renaissance its direction. Okay. I guess we are, yes, this is just the beginning of the Renaissance, so that does make some sense. Oh, right, that's where I'm at. Oh, good. Okay. More than any other man, he helped to establish what is meant to be a learned, cultured individual. And the humanist movement in Italy and later throughout all of Europe was to follow his example of Western ethnocentric ideals, that is. Come on now. Fucks up with that bullshit. Okay. In his lyric poetry, written in Italian rather than Latin, like Dante, Petrarch invented what became a universal poetic language, providing a model for centuries of poets who found his Canzoniere a veritable goldmine of conceits, metaphors, and attitudes towards literature, which they would incorporate into their own personal expression. How wonderful. Oh my God. I don't know, I thought I would feel this more than I am currently, but maybe it's because I'm externalizing it here and I'm not really like meditating on it, but you know, it's a pandemic and I'm having a hard time right now. I did really like the Odyssey, and I really liked Circe. God, that's one of the best books I've ever read. So beautiful, so beautiful. Now, that's a lyrical book. Dante was a gorgeous poet. The Aeneid, it was all right. It was also beautiful, but I'm more partial to the Odyssey myself. Yeah. What else? What else have we read? Oh, you know, Plato. That's the bomb. He's the bomb. Socrates is the bomb. Ooh. A series of antithesis, or oxymora, depicts a lover's psychological state in the sonnet, which was the most popular poem in the European Renaissance. Ooh, what's that one? Ooh, I think I'll like these shorter ones if I can ever get to them. I find no peace, and I am not at war. I fear and hope and burn, and I am ice. I fly above the heavens and lie on earth, and I grasp nothing and embrace the world. Alright, bruh, I feel you now. One keeps me jailed who either locks. Oh, excuse me. One keeps me jailed who neither locks nor opens, nor keeps me for her own, nor frees the noose. Love does not kill, nor does he loose my chains. He wants me lifeless, but won't loosen me. I see with no eyes, shout without a tongue. I yearn to perish, and I beg for help. I hate myself and love somebody else. I thrive on pain and laugh with all my tears. I dislike death as much as I do life. Wow, bro. Because of you, lady, I am this way. Oh, God, he's like the original blamer of women. Like, that's like the quintessential pedestal putting down at the same time. It's like, all it does to the woman is like sticks them in this position they can't get out from. Yeah, it's not cool, bro. Not cool. I would prefer someone who expresses their longing in much different terms, much clearer, more accountable to themselves. Do you know what I mean? Just blamey. You're in control of your emotions and reactions and responses. All right, well, we'll make a note of liking this one, though it is a bit long-winded. I should finish it, and then I'm gonna get off this freaking thing, because nobody cares. All right. Ugh. Okay, and if, unlike herself, she is insistent on one's insistent prayer, she mirrors him in order that the sinning be more feared, for one about to sin, again does not repent well of his sin. After my lady, who was moved by pity, agreed to look at me, and knew and saw that punishment was equal to the sin, she graciously restored my old condition. But wise men count on nothing in this world. Everything changes. For when I begged again, my bones and nerves she turned to hardest stone. And I was left, a voice shaken from its old heavy self, calling for death and only her by name. Ooh, how haunting. A mournful wandering spirit, I remember, through unfamiliar and deserted caves. I wept for many years my unleashed boldness, and still again from that ill I found freedom, and I assumed once more my living form to suffer greater pain therein, I think. And my desire I pursued so far that one day, hunting as I often would, I came upon that cruel and lovely beast, naked within a naked within a fountain. Stop calling her a beast! Oh my God. When the sun strikes the hottest time of day, I, since no other sight can please me more, stood gazing at her, but she felt ashamed, and to revenge herself, or else to hide, she splashed some water up into my face. Oh, this is recounting Diana and whoever that dude is that she turns into a fucking elk because he, or I should say Artemis, but whatever. Diana. Because he sneaks up on her and watches her bathe, which is a total creeper fucking mode. So, you know, he deserved to be turned into a fucking elk. But it is very, very, very sad because then he gets murdered by his own dogs and friends, and that's fucking cruel and mean. I don't even think he meant. Well, maybe he meant to. Anyways, you know, it's a goddess. I ain't gonna get what you deserve. We're coming to you. Her and the other nymphs and maids. Well, not other nymphs, because she's not a a nymph, but, anyways, I bet you that's what this about. Anyways, splash water, some water up into my face. I'll tell the truth, though it may seem a lie. I felt myself ripped from my very image and quickly turn into a solitary, wandering stag that moves from wood to wood, and still I flee the rage of my own hounds. God, all this is like a sing-song to previous authors. God, where's the originality? Canzone. I was never that cold. What? I was never that gold cloud that once descended in a precious rain, so as to quench in part Jove's burning flame. Hold up. Kaka, what? I was never that gold cloud that once descended in a precious rain. Precious rain? No consent. That ain't no precious shit. So as to quench in part Jove's burning flame. No, you don't quench that flame, that burning flame. That's hell right there. But surely I was flame lit by love's glance. That's your excuse, anyways. I was the bird that rises through highest air, raising the one whom in my words I honor. Doubtful, but okay, that's what you think, bro. And no strange shape could ever make me leave the first laurel, for still its lovely shade clears every lesser pleasure from my heart. Oh my God, first love. Creepy and wonderful. All right, well, folks, kids, that's been a great experience. Thanks for no one being here. Loved it. It was great. I did get some reading done, though, so this was totally freaking worth it. Blessings to all you beings out there. And if you ever have to read Francesco Petrarca, at least you'll have read about 3 to 4 to 5 poems if you listen to this. Good evening. Konbanwa.